Hello. Hello. I'm going to talk about Super Mario Sunshine, and I don't know what I'm going to say. So I'm just going to improvise, see where it goes, see where we take it. Super Mario Sunshine. There are many aspects of this game that I'm interested in right now. One of them, let's just try and find one aspect of Super Mario Sunshine that I'm interested in. Well, right now, I'm interested in Pinner Park. So let's just say a few things about Pinner Park. I'm a little sort of fascinated by how Pinner Park, the entrance to Pinner Park, is a cannon. So it's a weapon. The first thing you encounter is a weapon. And this weapon shoots you towards Pinner Park, your destination, right? Entrances to worlds tend to be the color blobs, the painting color blobs. Obviously, some of them are not. But this one is, yes, a war-making machine. And it shoots you towards Pinner Park. You see, the first thing that comes to my mind connecting these two things is that Pinner Park is a very, technological world. It's filled with strange machines. It's filled with a Ferris wheel and a merry-go-round and other sorts of amusement park rides. So it's a mechanical technological sort of world, but this technology is oriented towards pleasure and enjoyment in some way, right? And then from within that world, we get a technological Bowser that rises up from the sea as well. I mean, from the water. So that's funny because obviously then Bowser gets sort of connected with the rides. In order to beat Bowser, you need to ride the roller coaster, right? So it's almost as if Bowser is part of the amusement park and therefore part of the game, part of what is fun about that place. And yet, he is one of the dangerous aspects of that place. It's a dangerous part of that place, right? You could suffer due to it, right? There's rockets being shot and there's violence being, made. And so those two worlds are meeting, because this was a place where the whole idea was that all of the technology here was oriented towards pleasure and fun. And yet from within that world, another sort of technology arises which causes pain. And it's fused with the pleasure technology in some way. It's almost like it emerges from it or from within that world. Within that little amusement park world, something comes out that is of it, but attains exactly the opposite goal, when the goal was pleasure. Right? Even the owner of the amusement park makes this comment saying, "Oh wow, this is so much fun! Like you're recreating an adventure here for the amusement park." He thinks that what's happening is a game, and yet what's happening is a battle between good and evil in some way, or there's a battle going on between Mario and Bowser. And it's almost like, in a sense, the owner of the amusement park sees that it is so archetypal. It's such a classic sort of thing to happen, to have a superhero fighting a villain, that it must be, in some way, fun. It must be a story, and therefore something just to look at and have fun with. And yet, the Bowser is actually attacking Mario. Mario is actually attacking Bowser. So that's happening. And so it's funny then that the entrance to that world is a cannon. Again, like it's a war weapon, which already sort of harbors that feeling that what you're approaching is in some way a dangerous place or is connected to war in some way. It's connected to war in some way, right? The canon is already sort of telling you. In fact, like, I may be mistaken about this, but it could be even. Okay, let's just try and figure something out here for a second. I'm sorry, I can't use my browser. So there are already canons. Those canons, the same kind of canon, appears in Pinner Park, I think, in different parts of Pinner Park. One of them, I think, literally takes you to one of the secret worlds and so on. There is a canon with a, what you call it? If I remember correctly, there is a, damn it, what you call it? The those moles, Monty Mole, right? There's a confrontation with Monty Mole in this level, isn't there? I'm pretty sure there is. Anyway, let's say there is. You know, you you contradict me if there isn't. I think there is. I haven't sort of checked. I think there's a confrontation with Monty Mole on the beach. So it's a part of the level. It's already the level is already connecting these two sorts of technologies. But the fact that it's the entrance to the level, I think already makes the canon central to this level's theme, right? Because the canon also appears in Noki Bay, but it's not central to Noki Bay in this exact way, I don't think. Okay, so these are the things you're initially sort of dealing with. And I think the other interesting aspect of this, though, is that Pinner Park sits, in my opinion, in some way at the center of the game. First of all, because it is the first encounter with Bowser, and it is the first encounter with Bowser before the final encounter. It kind of serves as a sort of mid-boss, right? It's like you reach the middle of the game, you fight Bowser. You reach the end of the game, you fight Bowser. At the beginning, in the mid-boss area, you fight a sort of fake Bowser. At the end of the game, you fight the real Bowser. Freudian slip there. So you're fighting this mechanical Bowser. And it's also, I would say, that what makes it the middle of the game is that it is like a big cutscene moment. It's a big story plot development moment, which a lot of the other areas don't have in this way, right? So you finish beating Bowser in Pinner Park, and you have this big sequence where it is revealed that Shadow Mario is Bowser Jr., or Baby Bowser, and that they fly away towards Corona Mountain. So it's like a sort of, like a segue. It's like a connection between the first half and the second half. You get a lot of plot development, and then you move on to the second half of the game, and you continue playing until you reach some more plot development at the very end, and then there's more cutscenes. So, right. What's interesting about that? Well, it's interesting that the amusement park should be the middle of the game to me. I guess, several reasons. One is just because it's a game, like it's an amusement park, so it's a place of playing. It's where you play. I'm pretty sure I've said this in other videos, but I want to go over it anyway. It's like a vlog to refresh my memory about it. So it's a game. The whole game is a game, though. That's the funny thing. And what I mean by this is that the whole game is a holiday. The whole game is fun. The whole game is supposed to be a holiday. A holiday, right, is a place where you have fun and therefore where you play. It's the opposite of work. Holiday is the opposite of work, so it is play in some way. You have fun everywhere, right? All of the areas of Delfino Island are supposed to be places where you have fun and play. So it is a game to the core. It is a game about play. And yet, right, that's obviously there is a dark sort of secret that emerges here at the center of the game, because we have Pinner Park as a place where play, fun, has just really escalated, it seems like, to a point where it explodes into violence. Something bad happens from all the play. And then something needs to be confronted here about the concept of play, I think. at this point in the game. It's also obviously important to keep in mind that Mario is working. Mario is doing forced labor in this game. I think this is really funny and such a weird backdrop to this game, because it's supposed to be a holiday. I mean, in a sense, it's the joke of the game, isn't it? That it's supposed to be a holiday, and yet it's exactly the opposite. It's work. It's forced labor. Mario needs to clean up all of the graffiti on the island, and solve the situation. That sort of, like, he's been forced to do that by the government of the island. So he's not on holiday. He's working. He's working like even more intensely. It's funny also because it's one of those games where it seems to me like the franchise is starting to play with its own themes in a slightly ironic way, At least I feel it can be read that way, because obviously you could say that Mario is always working. Mario is never on holiday. As long as you're playing a Mario game, it means that something is happening that needs solving, and Mario's going to be there to solve it. Unless, obviously, it's not a Mario Party game or something like that, right? So that there is some sort of there is some work. This game is making that explicit. So whereas in another game like Mario 64 or whatever, it's not presented as work, as labor in opposition to holiday, right? Here it is. It's like this is the same as any other Mario game, but it's making explicit the fact that what Mario is doing is work that he can't say no to, right? He is being forced by the state in some way to work. You could see it that way. And yet it's all fused with this concept of holiday. It's as if the holiday itself has something about it that is work related. Okay, so I think we need to move on to a different area, see what happens, see where we can explore next. I think the next thing to look at is Sirena Beach, because Sirena Beach is the level that comes right after Pinner Park. And so Sirena Beach is also about play in a very explicit way. See, I find that very interesting, because if these two levels are together, they are in some way the midpoint of the game, right? Pinner Park is before the big reveal that Shadow Mario is actually Bowser Jr., and then you get the second post reveal. Once that insight has been sort of sunk in some way, you get Sirena Beach, which, right, I've mentioned before, I think, is like fun. It's another aspect of fun, but it suddenly acquires a much more explicitly darker tone. Pinner Park is this explosion of color and dopamine or something, and Sirena Beach is fun, but it's a casino. So first of all, it's already a more sort of adult kind of fun, in the sense that it involves gambling and it's nightlife. There is a nightlife aspect to it. It's dark, it's nighttime, it's one of the few nighttime areas in the game, and it's a casino. So it's also like an amusement park. It's a place where you have fun and play. It's about games, but these games involve money very directly. You need to pay money to play them. I don't think you need to pay money in this game, but obviously, in a real casino you would. So it's the symbol of the casino is a place where you would have to pay money to play, and it's a place where you're playing in order to get money. It's also touching on another kind of theme of this game. Well, because Mario is working. And work tends to be something you get paid for. So it's something you do in order to get paid. Here, this is a game. The casino is a place where you're playing in order to get paid. So it's something you're doing which is fun, but you're doing it in order to get something that usually is required in society. Let's say it's something, right? required in order for like social exchange to happen in this society. So it's like, yeah, it's fun, but the dark theme of the level, the fact that it's nighttime, the fact obviously that it's filled with ghosts, it's a casino that's filled with ghosts. It's almost like ruled by ghosts. It's ruled by King Boo. King Boo sits like at the center of this world, the what you call it, the roulette wheel at the center of this world. It's ruled by this king who is a ghost. So something relating to death, something relating to hidden things, ghosts, things that are like secret, not alive, not exactly alive, but who remain alive in this haunted sort of way, haunting this hotel. I don't know. So maybe I shouldn't stay too much time in this area, but it feels like there's something here where money is being associated to play in a way that then brings out this association with ghosts, right? This sort of stilled life sort of aspect of things. So obviously my question is whether this has something to do with Pinner Park. Like, does Pinner Park happen, and the insight of Pinner Park, the realization of Pinner Park, then brings us to this second level where this new realization about the nature of play happens? Well, I mean, obviously I don't know. The thing we could say though is that Pinner Park, the confrontation you have with Bowser, once again, let's look at it for a second, because it is a confrontation with a shell. It's a confrontation with a shell of Bowser. It's not actually Bowser. It's Bowser, but it's being controlled by someone else. It's the shell of Bowser, but Bowser Jr. is steering the controls. It's weird, because then Bowser Jr. himself was also dressed up as Mario, as, you know, whatever, Shadow Mario. So it wasn't Shadow Mario either. Shadow Mario is a shell, a body that Bowser Jr. is controlling. It's almost as if the game is giving you the same insight twice. It's saying, look, the same thing is happening twice. It's being redoubled. It's like awareness about the nature of shells is bursting into the scene. There is a shell and there's someone piloting it, and then there's another shell and there's someone else piloting that. It's like there is a big sort of cascade of shells, of awareness of shells in this level. And it's a level where you're dealing with play and games and there's something fun about this, as if the technology that is creating all this fun is also the shell that is hiding what's beneath it, or something like that. And I wonder if maybe that insight is the insight that then has something to do with Sirena Beach. That is to say that this insight about shells is what allows Sirena Beach to then happen. For then Mario to be able to enter Sirena Beach and see the kind of things that he sees in Sirena Beach. You know, I think maybe shells have something to do with this, that shells are somehow the central insight that is being had in this area of the game, and therefore, perhaps, because it's the center of the game and this insight is being had very intensely, maybe this is somehow the central insight of the game. Like maybe the game is having this insight all the time throughout the game, but here this insight is being revealed intensely because it's the center, and then you move out and complete this insight somehow. So I don't know. That could be it. So yeah, let's leave it here for now, and thank you. Okay.